All right, time now for our CMS Insider segment. This is where, Scott, you are the insider and you give us some invaluable, you usually charge for this. Let's just put it that way, right?
Exactly right. You come here, you get 5 minutes of this, 5 minutes of free goodness.
This is free to the audience
Free
right
goodness.
now.
Yeah,
Wow.
exactly.
All right. Isn't enterprise social networking and intranets the same thing? Let me repeat the statement. Isn't enterprise social networking and intranets the same thing? That's the subject you're diving into right now as our insider. Are they? Are they the same thing? What are we talking about here?
Yeah, aren't they the same thing? I think the answer is no, they're not the same thing. Look, enterprise social networks are looked by many that, take the likes of Yammer, the idea of Facebook within the enterprise, et cetera. We're all trying to figure out where does social play in terms of helping us be more effective within our organizations. We know that we've got typically an enterprise today has got people all around the world that are working on various projects. They're working in various ways. And so how can we kind of connect them to achieve a number of goals? Number one is, how can we get the kind of power and efficiency of them being able to learn and work from each other? And number two is, how can we make sure that we retain as an organization as much of the information about ourselves as possible so that if somebody were to leave, they're not taking IP out the door or our information out the door with them. And so I think that's what they're both trying to solve. But the answer to me is, if intranets are old, which we should talk about that next, but if intranets are old, is our enterprise social networks the next thing? No, I think that enterprise social networks are a part of the morph and a part of the pivot into what kind of the new version 2.0 of intranets is, but they are not subsistently the next wave.
So are intranets old? Are they outdated? Are they useless? If I have Yammer, should I blow it up?
Yeah. Look, I think, again, if we look at what's the goal of what intranets were, typically it's connect people, maintain information, allow them to be more efficient because they can maybe have one place to go to get access to what so-and-so is working on, or that one, sort of get access to enterprise information. So if that was the goal, the challenge with that, where they typically have fallen down, and intranet is just a label, so it means many things to many different companies, but where they've been viewed as kind of deemed failures is often because they are not a part of the way that people do work, the way that employees do work. And so the desire was, well, if I can go and figure out, Butch, what kind of projects that you're working on, and I might be over here and you're over there, well, then I can go learn from you. Well, the problem is that you're not putting your information out on the intranet about it because there's no step in your process of completing that project that makes it so. It's not a part of you doing that work, right? And so therefore, it's actually an added piece of work, which frankly has no benefit to you in that project whatsoever. So you've got to now go write up what you're doing, all that sort of stuff, and then so that I can come and learn from you later. And frankly, all that I'm going to then go do is bother you with questions about it, right? And so because it wasn't a part of the way we do it, or that's where many of them have failed. And the most popular thing on any intranet today is the cafeteria menu, right? As well as the people finder, so that I can go find the phone number for somebody. So those are the two most popular things on any intranet. I think though, so the answer is, do you need to blow it up? No, but I think you do need to figure out how to get an intranet, whatever form it takes, to be more a part of the way that people do work.
Yeah, I mean, the picture you just painted, my question to you is going to be this. So then what is enterprise social networking? Okay. Like what is your definition of it? Because I think we hear all these terms, and if I'm an organization, I hear it, but so what is that? I'm starting to hear that, and it may be more effective. But let me go back to your point and make a quick comment. The goal of it is collaboration.
Correct.
I've worked as an organization, I've spent time and resources just to get some people, most people, to collaborate using this platform, let's say, right?
Yep.
And right now, I'm having some degree of success. I'm a global company, let's say. So I've just got them on there, and they're getting used to doing it.
Correct.
You painted the negative, that they're not collaborating with the way they do because they don't use it as their primary source. They're not having it out there on the internet, so it's not doing. So again, what is ESN? What is it an acronym?
Yeah, I don't think we really use that, and let's not go create another acronym because there's so many of them out there. And I get blamed for creating new acronyms all the time. That's not one that I care enough about to put my personal brand on it, but you can have it on yours.
Don't want it.
Look, I think what enterprise social networks do is that we certainly know that people have a desire to be social. They have a desire to collaborate with each other. They have a desire to get information out of each other, and so that's valuable. The thing is that it can't be a side thing either. So in the same way that intranets were not a part of the way that you're working, enterprise social networks are viewed sometimes as like, it's just the virtual water cooler now. And so is it just my way of going and interacting with people? Is it my way of sharing pictures? Is it my way of just having side chats and whatever that are not necessarily helping me get work done, but actually distracting me from doing work? So if we can combine these two things now, where we have this idea of how do I integrate the way that people work with collaboration networks that allows them to communicate in that way, that they can be more communicative to their, but it's actually a part of the way that they're doing work, part of the way that they're doing projects. If, for example, and therefore then the data and information about those products becomes a byproduct instead of the specific, it's a benefit that is reaped from it and then can be mined and tapped into, as opposed to being the thing that you're necessarily seeking and you're therefore forcing out of people.
So final point about this, important questions to ask as an organization, I guess. If I'm that global company, again, I've got Yammer, I've got something that's I'm using to some varying degrees of success. Yeah. I don't want to blow it up, I don't want to start. You've already told us that they're not the same thing. Yep. You've already said that you don't necessarily have to blow it up. Right. But where do I begin? What are the important questions to ask?
Exactly, yeah. So the important questions to ask are, what am I trying to accomplish overall by all of this? Am I trying to create efficiencies here? Am I trying to improve, I don't know, maybe I'm actually using some of these tools to try to improve the mental health of my employees because I've got a disenfranchised group or something. But this can backfire on you very quickly. But what am I trying to achieve by this? Number two is, where are the pockets then that, again, kind of back to even when we were talking about big data and how to put data to use, where can I go and find a process that people have to do today that's a part of their job that I can make better by allowing them to communicate with others in a digital way, and that I can infuse as a part of that process that maybe the way that they need to go, everything from, instead of creating a separate document about the kind of project champion thing for what the goals of it are. Maybe if that's a part of some application that I'm using and I'm entering that information, now that same step, I don't have to make it a second one, and I can make it a part of that process. So how can I infuse the way that people work with this so that the byproduct becomes the great information, the insights, and the collaboration?
Scott Lee, we're in our CMS Insider segment here on CMS Connected. That's going to do it for this edition of CMS Connected. We want to thank our guests, as always, Sonny Lenarduzzi, Ray Wong from Constellation Research. He was awesome on today's show. Mark your calendars, because our next show is going to come your way April 16th. When that show airs, we will be coming to you from the WeConnectIntra.net Reloaded show in Boston. We're going to be on site with that show, and that show will air on April 16th. Before we go, I'd like to thank our lead sponsors, Falcon Software and Digital Clarity Group. So get connected.
And stay connected.
On CMS Connected, and we'll see you next time on April 16th.